And what I love about cooking myself, and I would imagine all of you do if you cook, is you know what you're putting in your food. So you know what's going into your body. And of course, it's the only place you have to live, right? So we really have to take care of our bodies. And there's no guarantee that we're never going to get ill. But if you eat well, nutrition is paramount to good health. So if you eat well, you really increase your odds of living a good, long, healthy quality of life. And that is my intent. I'd like to, maybe spend a little bit more today on organic foods and more healthful foods, and a lot less in the doctor's office down the line. I think that's the most important way to think, that the food that we put into our bodies can really feed us in a healthful way and make us feel good, give us a lot of energy. And a lot of foods can really help with our brain health. There's so much going on, obviously, with Alzheimer's and different types of dementia, where, our brains are 60% fat. And a lot of that is omega-3 fatty acids. A lot of that is DHA, which is docosahexaenoic acid. All you have to do is really remember DHA. So the foods that you eat, again, can contain a lot. Our bodies don't produce omega-3s, which we need every single day. So that we have to really be mindful of eating those healthful foods. And I've got fish here today. So you want to eat oily fish. Omega-3 fatty acids are found in things like salmon, tuna, sardines, things like that. But any kind of fish, except for fish that has a lot of mercury, things like tuna, you have to watch it. I do eat tuna, but in moderation. Swordfish has a lot of mercury. It's the older, bigger fish that obviously are in the ocean longer. They can pick up more pollutants, more mercury, so you have to watch that. Today I'm making a little bit of halibut, which is one of my favorite fish to eat, and it's so easy to make. Do you like fish? Anybody a fish fan? Yay. Okay. Do you make fish at home, Pam? Oh, people are on mute.
We do sometimes. I love salmon. My husband makes a wonderful poached salmon, and then what's left over I have for lunch the next day.
Yes.
But we've also been longtime sushi fans, so I love sushi.
Me too. Me too. So the thing is, again, you want to make sure that the things you're putting in your body are good for your overall health and, of course, for your brain health. And the more we eat healthful foods, the better off we are in terms of good cognitive health. And another thing that you want to do is make sure that you're eating a lot of leafy greens. I'm a big proponent of the Mediterranean diet. I think overall that's probably one of the most healthy diets that any of us can really partake in. You've got your greens, your leafy greens, your fruits, other vegetables. You've got legumes, your beans, your lentils, garbanzo beans, things like that. You've got nuts, raw nuts like walnuts, chock full of protein and omega-3s. So things like avocados. So it's very easy to follow a healthy diet if you're following something like the Mediterranean diet, where you don't have to put a lot of thought behind it. Just eat it and feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Extra virgin olive oil, which is, of course, nature's liquid gold. Another thing that you've got to have in your diet every single day. It's chock full, again, of omega-3s. Anything that's going to give you that heart health, that brain health, that overall health is what you want to be eating every single day. And so today, as I say, I'm making my fish, and I've made it it's in the book, as Pam mentioned, I call it my fish under wraps. The reason I call it my fish under wraps is, let me see if you can see this. I don't have my own photographer. There you go. Can you see my fish right here? Mm-hmm. So that's my halibut. What I've done is, again, so easy. My whole thing too is about eating healthfully. And eating easily, of course. So things that I make are quick. They're easy and they're good for you. So this is just what I put in today was some capers, which are pickled flower buds. Very, very good. They've got that briny, salty taste to them. So they always bring something to the table when it comes to good flavor. And you're upping that flavor profile with things like capers. You can put some green olives in here. I put a little bit of lemon. This is a Meyer lemon, which is why it's a little more orange. I love them. I put them in my iced tea. You're getting a lot of good vitamin C there. You want to boost your immune system, right? So that we can fend off illness. And especially right now with the virus going around, our immune systems are our biggest friend, our best friend. So again, arm yourself with good foods that are going to really make that immune system strong. So I've got my vitamin C, I've got some extra virgin olive oil in here, and a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's all I put in here. So I make it under wrap, so pretty much I want it to steam, and when you steam it like this, you've got so much moisture and goodness in the fish. You don't have to do anything else. Once it's cooked, it's right there for you. It's got all the flavors, it's got the moisture, it's got the nutrients, and in about 10 to 12 minutes, it's done. So I'm just going to wrap it up like this. And you don't want to really, really wrap it tight, because that's going to keep everything too tight, and you won't be able to get the, the steam flowing, and you want that for a good overall cooking experience. So I'm just going to pinch it, as they say, and I'm hoping you can see this. I'm going to go back here a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to just go like this, a little bit on top, and I'm going to put it in here. And my oven is ready at 350. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook it for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until it's flaky. And we'll put it right in to the oven. Again at 350 on a little cookie sheet. I'm going to time it. Let's make it for 10 minutes first, and then I'll check it. Again, everybody's ovens are a little bit different, in terms of temperatures. So you kind of have to check everything to make sure that it's not overcooked or undercooked. So I give it about 10 minutes. I'll check it again. As I say, it may need another minute or two. In the meantime, I'm going to make my wilted spinach, because we have to have our greens, right? And if spinach was good enough for Popeye, trying to build those muscles, then it's good enough for the rest of us, right? So leafy greens, very important. All I have to do now is just heat up the frying pan. And once that gets going, we'll throw in the baby spinach. I just get it prepackaged. You can get fresh spinach. This is fresh, but you can get it and clean it. Spinach is one of the more difficult veggies to clean. So I just get the one that's already washed, triple washed, and then I wash it again, quadruple washed, just to make sure. I just rinse it off. So here it is. And again, this is, you're putting this in your body. You're guaranteeing that your body's going to love it, and you're going to feel energized, and you're doing something good for your body. Sometimes I even put in, and I try to have mushrooms as much as possible. If you can eat mushrooms, maybe 3, 4, 5 times a week, you're going to do your body good as well. And mushrooms can go in this recipe very easily, especially if you like mushrooms. They're really a good source of so many nutrients. Now, the most important thing is mushrooms, in terms of studies, they have found that they've reduced the risk for mild cognitive deterioration. So that's enough for me to say, you know what, there are some good nutrients in mushrooms, especially in lion's mane, shiitake mushrooms. Any kind of mushrooms are going to give you some good healthful benefits. So anytime you can throw them into a recipe or just eat them alone, I like to throw them in a frying pan with some extra virgin olive oil, maybe a little bit of diced garlic or minced garlic, just salt and pepper, mix that up, and then you can throw it on a burger, you can throw it on some steak, or just eat them alone. They're that good. So my water is starting to boil now on the spinach. So I'm going to throw this in. Now, you can also, if you want, you can start. Now, this is going to cook down. It looks like a lot of spinach. Depends how many people you're feeding. That spinach really cooks down. It looks like a lot to begin with, and then you're back to nothing pretty much. So you always want to put a little extra in. I was going to say, I started with some just water, but if you want, you can start with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, then throw in some diced or minced garlic, throw in your spinach when the pan is hot, let it kind of cook down a little bit, then throw in a little bit of water and let it steam. And that doesn't take long at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on very, very low. Maybe I'm just going to turn it off for this moment, because spinach cooks very, very quickly. And the big challenge about cooking too is you want everything done at the same time, right? It's about timing. So I'll leave that spinach off for the moment while the fish is cooking. And then once that's just about done, I'll turn that back up. It'll be another minute or two and everything will be ready at the same time. So that's where we are. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, a lot of us right now with the coronavirus and everything else that we have to deal with in our everyday lives, there's a lot of stress, right? And we may not be getting as much sleep. And I think that, chronic stress and lack of sleep can really wreak havoc on our health. So it's really important to try to get that restful sleep every single night and find ways to alleviate stress so it doesn't take its toll on our health, on our brain health, on our overall health. So whatever it's going to be, a lot of people meditate. It works for a lot of people. I meditate once in a while. What I find really, really good for me, effective for me in terms of stress relieving is exercise. I love it. But I do things that are going to be fun. Like I like to dance. I like to do aerobics. There is Leslie Sansone on YouTube right now. She does a walking program, and I do that almost every single day. And you think of walking, right? Well, what is that? What is that going to really do? But I'm telling you, after an hour, 45 minutes, I've broken a sweat. I've got my heart rate up a little bit, and I've moved. And the whole thing is, it's about moving. It's about making sure that you stay healthy that way as well, because our bodies were meant to move, right? A body in motion will stay in motion, that whole thing. It's true. We've got to keep moving. Again, that's great for our kind of cognitive well-being too. So it's just a whole package, it's like live well, eat well, be well, think well. It's all about the way, we view life, our perspective, our attitude. And then if we put all of that in motion, and I think right now it's a test of our character, it's a test of our will. And I think we're, through this adversity, I think we're all finding out that we're stronger than we may have thought we were. And I think that's part of the silver lining when it comes to what we're going through, is that we can put up with a lot when we have to. And if we're feeding ourselves good positivity in every single way, we're going to get through things like this, and we'll come out bigger and better for it. So again, it's all about your health matters. Make sure that you're doing what you can to make your health matter. And that is every single day. And it becomes a routine. For me, I don't even think about it anymore. I know what I need to eat. I know what my body responds to. And that's another thing. You want to make sure you're listening to your body, right? Listen to what your body's telling you when you're eating certain foods. Berries, I eat them every single day. I try to make shakes every day, smoothies. So I'm putting in my organic berries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. They're chock full of antioxidants, which are going to ward off those free radicals. And those free radicals, as you may know, wreak havoc with our health, with our cells and all of that. So you want to make sure that you're fighting off those free radicals through antioxidants. And the foods that we're making now have a lot of antioxidants. This alone, this little thing right here, this garlic, this is one of your best friends as well when it comes to eating well. It's an antioxidant. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's a great people repellent. Just wanted to make sure you were listening. So you want to eat foods like that taste great, right? And incorporate them into your diet every day. And I don't know if you're like me, but I know that I feel better when I'm putting good foods into my body, because it's guiltless. You're eating well and you're feeling great and you don't have to worry about it. Do I fall off the wagon once in a while? Of course, who doesn't, right? Once in a while I want a little ice cream sundae, and I'll have that, because you have to reward yourself for all your good behavior. So once in a while you can do that. And then if you want to have a little more during these really hot summer months, then maybe have some dairy-free, low-fat something or other. They make all kinds of things now with oat milk, almond milk, things like that for me, I think taste great. Throw on a little bit of, some walnuts, raw walnuts. I throw a little whipped cream on once in a while. What the heck, right? And go at it, have fun, because, we only live once. So give yourself a treat. But when you start eating healthfully and you're eating really good foods, those are treats every day too. I mean, who doesn't love, hang on a second. Who doesn't love things like this, right? Fresh organic strawberries. I mean, what's wrong with that? These are great for you and they taste delicious. So it's all about, and they're also, I should add, very low in sugar. So it's a lower glycemic fruit. Berries are things like kiwi fruit, citrus fruits, bananas, much higher in sugar. So watch that, because it's going to be, you have to watch it. People who can't have potassium, you don't want to have avocados or bananas, things like that. So we all are on certain diets. So make sure you check with your doctor to know what you can eat and what you can't eat. I know my dad loves bananas, can't eat them anymore. So because you can't have potassium. So you do have to know what your body can take and what it can't take. Very, very important. Any questions?
Gosh, I am inspired already, Janet. Living in the valley, you know, we're not close to the ocean or anything like that. Where do you like to go get your seafood around here?
Well, you know, I love to get my seafood, to be honest with you, at Whole Foods, and I got this at Sprouts last night. I really feel that Whole Foods, though, has the biggest variety of healthy fish, and they also are all about sustainability, and they're about wild caught. There's farm raised fish and there's wild caught, obviously. I always go for the wild. Farm raised has a lot of PCBs, it's got contaminants, it's got a lot of things that we have to worry about. So that said, with Whole Foods, again, they're all about sustainability and health. So they have stricter standards when it comes to farm raised fish. So if I really need to get a piece of farm raised, if they don't have any wild salmon on that particular day, I'll get the farm at Whole Foods because I know that they've got really high standards. I'll never order it, to be honest with you, in a restaurant. I'll only get the wild. I think it's really important because, again, a lot of contaminants in farm raised fish. The other thing about fish you have to remember, as I said before, is, you know, whatever the fish eat in the ocean is what we're putting into our bodies. So while we want to eat fish, watch how much you eat as well. So maybe 2 or 3 times a week is good for fish. And again, watch the fish that you're eating. Wild fish, you know, again, salmon, really, really good for you. Sardines, I don't know if you guys like sardines. I'll make a sardine sandwich, you know, because I happen to like them. It just depends on what your palate enjoys. But keeping in mind that you want to eat more wild than farmed when you can. Let me check my fish. Speaking of, it's been about 10 minutes. Oh, it's got a little, I can tell it's still translucent, so it's got a ways to go. I'm going to make it for another, I'd say 10 minutes. Let's make it, okay, hang on one second. And with cooking, obviously, you always want to keep checking, keep a little eye on it. Sometimes it cooks a little faster than you think, so I'm going to keep an eye. I may check on it in about 5 minutes or so. But I love halibut. It's so, again, with fish too, it's so, again, easy, quick. It takes about 10, 12, 15 minutes to cook max, and you've got a delicious dinner on the table with very little effort. So I love that about it.
Oh, I think Betty has a question. Betty, let me unmute you.
Yes.
Oh. Can you also cook it in parchment paper instead of foil?
So interesting you asked that. In fact, I usually use parchment paper. Hang on a second. I got my parchment paper right here. I love parchment paper. That's a very good question. Yeah, I like it too. The only thing I don't like about it is it's harder to manipulate than foil. Right. You know, foil, it's once you
right.
make it, you know, where you need it, it stays, and parchment paper takes a little more finesse, shall we say, right. But it works just as well, yeah. And in fact, I get my parchment paper at Whole Foods too. It's a 365, so it's not expensive, and it's non-bleached. There's no bleach in it, because you'll find some parchment paper that does have bleach and other whatever in it, you know, that aren't good chemicals in it. So I try to watch that as well. Just kind of keep an eye out, you know. If you start getting used to reading the labels and making sure that you can see unbleached right there, I don't know if you can see it. That's really important, because when you're cooking, these things leach into our foods. So it's very important to keep that in mind. And that can influence or affect adversely our brain health and our overall health. So the more we stay away from chemicals, the better, is how I feel. I think that's really, really important. Getting back to berries again, you know, I eat a lot of blueberries, I mentioned. They can slow age-related brain deterioration. At least they've found that in rats. So they're doing studies. Again, berries very high in antioxidants. So, and who doesn't love blueberries and raspberries and strawberries? So these are things that we can eat very readily and very easily, and they're doing our body good. And I think that's really a thing to remember when we're putting things, you know, we're making a menu or going to the store. Look for things like that. And organic, I think, is really important. There are so many produce items now that are heavily sprayed. And I would highly recommend that everybody check the environmental working groups website. It's ewg.org, and they'll tell you about the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. So they'll tell you about the most highly sprayed fruits and vegetables and the ones that you don't have to worry about so much. So anything that I'm putting into my body, though, if I'm eating the whole thing, like a strawberry or a peach or a raspberry, I'm getting organic. If I'm eating a banana, an avocado, I'm getting traditional or conventional, because that's not going into my body. So it's things like that you want to keep in mind. But again, the Environmental Working Group is a watchdog group for consumers. So they do pretty much the legwork. And then all we have to do is dip into what they found out and then take it from there. And it's super easy. And I trust them.
What is the name, Janet, again? Environmental Working Group?
Yes. And their
EWG?
website is ewg.org.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Check it out. They do a lot of good for us consumers who are trying. And they're also about not just food, but makeup, chemicals in our makeup, chemicals in our sunscreens that we have to watch out for, like oxybenzoin, things like that you don't want in your sunscreens, because things absorb into our bodies. So whatever you put on your skin is absorbing into our bodies. So you want to keep that in mind as well.
What do you use to wash your fruit and vegetables?
They have a fruit and veggie wash that I use. I think I have some right here. As a matter of
I use apple cider vinegar and water.
Yes, apple cider vinegar works beautifully on the inside and the out. It's great for us too. I have to tell you, I put apple cider vinegar in some recipes because I can tolerate it, but I tried to drink it with a little bit of water. Yeah, it's too strong, right?
I tried that once. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work. My body's like, are you kidding? No, don't do that. So I do this, and it's as it says here, safe removal of waxes, chemicals, and soil. So I like this a lot, and there's no chemicals in it or anything like that. And if I'm in a pinch, I'll just use water, just heavily spray water and clean it. Again, it's organic, pretty much what I use. So just a good rinse and then paper towel dry it, and you're good to go. Yeah. I'm going to check the fish again. Hang on one second.
All right. And folks, if you have a question for Janet, please feel free to use the chat option. And the chat bubble is in the bottom center of your Zoom window, or tap on your screen, select more in the chat. And Janet, where would we get a hold of a copy of your cookbook?
You can get that on Amazon.com. Hang on one second. Doesn't that look delicious? Can you see
Yes.
that? All right. I'm going to go in for another minute or so, and then it'll be done. And I'm going to put my spinach on, and that'll be done in a second here. Put this back, and then I'll show you the book. The book has been out now for 10 years, which I can't believe. It was published in 2010. It took me a year to complete it. I actually took a year off of work to write this book. It's a tribute to my mom, who was an amazing cook and an amazing woman, spectacular lady, and just loved to cook for everybody else, to make everybody else happy. And when Mary cooked, it was like people could smell it from miles away. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, her kitchen was always chock full of people, because when Mary cooked, people wanted it. There she is. This is a picture of my folks I put in the book. So it's their wedding. Can you see that? Their wedding day. And then at the house, Mom was cooking. I think that was Thanksgiving. And she just loved to cook, and she was my best friend. And that's why I wrote this book. So what I did was I took a lot of her recipes. My dog is hungry. He's hearing cooking and food, and he wants to eat. I know. Hang on a second, bud. The recipes I took from my mom mostly, and I just kind of, tweaked them a little bit to make them a little lighter and healthier. I also included a lot of my own recipes, and even some from my friends who I thought were really on a good, healthful path, and that we should pay it forward and share their recipes. So they're in here as well. And again, you can get it on Amazon.com and have fun with it, because the whole thing is you want to make cooking a pleasurable experience, right? So you want to make it something that you look forward to. I know some people look at it as a chore. Not everybody likes to cook. That's why there are people who like to cook, who can cook for those people who don't like to cook. But I guarantee that if you try it, and if you really give it, that good old college try, you're going to like it, because you're going to feel so much better about what you're putting into your food. because you know, and now that's not to say that I don't love to eat out, because I do. And we have some great restaurants in our country, and certainly great restaurants right here in the beautiful Coachella Valley that I frequent very, very often when I can. But, you know, there's also something to be said about being able to cook. My mom used to say, if you can cook, you'll never starve, that kind of thing. You know, at least you can throw something. She used to say, I used to be able to make a piece of toast until I lost the recipe. She used to kid around like that, because there are people like that, you know, like, I don't know what to do in the kitchen. But it's all about, you know, just making a little bit of an effort, and you're going to find that you're going to like it, and you're going to take to it, and then become more adept at it as time goes on. I have to tell you, I've always been a pretty good cook because of my mom. I've been in the kitchen since I've been, you know, knee-high to a grasshopper. But since this pandemic started, to be quite honest, I've been cooking even more, a lot more. In fact, when we were, you know, locked down, I was cooking like most of us every single day, morning, noon, and night. So I think I've gotten a lot better at cooking. It's like anything else. Cooking is a skill. Taking care of yourself is a skill. Cooking for a healthful life is a skill. It's all about really applying yourself and making sure that you make that effort, and then it becomes rote. You don't even think about it. It's a second nature kind of thing, where it's just part of your lifestyle. And I think that's where you need to be, where you don't even think about it. From Pam, what are some of your favorite
restaurants here?
Oh my gosh, Pam, do we have enough time? I would say
Well,
off the top of my head, Il Corso.
Maybe your 5 top.
I love Il Corso. That's one of my favorites. I love, it was Wildest Greens, and now it's Wild. Wildest. I love that place. It's all healthy stuff. I love Luscious Lorraine's, which is on Highway 111 as well. It's more of a very casual type eating experience you can take out or eat there. Love it because it's all about good health. She's making everything from scratch and organic, and love that place. I love Thai food. So Thai Smile is one of my favorites on El Paseo. And a fifth would be, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think.
That's pretty good.
That's a good start right there.
That's a great start.
Don't forget the fish.
The fish, well, you know, we had.
No, don't forget your fish in the oven.
By the way, I won't forget my
It cooks when it's sitting.
Eddie V's. Eddie V's is another good restaurant where we had wonderful seafood. So those are probably my top 5. And the food, you're right, the fish, don't forget the fish. You're right, it still cooks when you take it out of the oven for a couple of minutes. So, and my spinach is just about ready. Oh, yeah, you know what? I think that I'm gonna just take a little fork, which is always my go-to item here, my tool. Can you see that here? Let's put this down just a little bit. Let me get this out of the way. This is very casual, isn't it? When you don't have a photographer, you gotta do it yourself. So you see that? Look at it, just flakes right off. Can you see that? Oh my, can I take a bite? Would you mind?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's ready to plate. Now that took all of about 12 minutes or so, and it's done. I've got my spinach, that's done. I'm gonna plate that, and we'll put the fish right on this bit of spinach. Now what I wanna do with the spinach though, and this is very, very important. You see that? Now I didn't toast, because I didn't have time. I didn't toast the garlic, but you can. You can put it in a little bit of olive oil and put the garlic in there and just toast it for a couple of minutes. But I'm gonna put a little raw. Raw garlic actually super healthy for you. You're getting a lot of the nutrients from raw garlic as opposed to cooked garlic. So we'll have a little raw, because I happen to love garlic. A little salt and pepper on the spinach. Okay. And then what I like to do is kick it up a notch with a little bit of red pepper flakes. So I'm gonna put a little bit of that on. Again, it all depends on your taste, what you like. And of course, we can't have spinach without a little bit of Nature's Liquid Gold, extra virgin olive oil, which again, really healthy for you, especially in its raw state. So we'll do that. We'll plate the fish right here. Can you see, ladies?
No, you got to move down a little.
Okay.
You can see the fish, not the plate.
There you go.
The plate. Oh, hang on. It's so flaky. It's already flaking. Look at that. I love it. I'm going to put a little bit of these capers in the juice. See how moist that is? The juices. Get rid of that. And there you have it. Can you see that, ladies?
Yep.
Oh, go back to her.
Very
Go back
nice.
to,
I have to tell you, it smells
go back
really
to Janet.
good.
Janet, can I see it again? I'm gonna take a
Yes, you
photo.
sure. I wish to goodness it wouldn't have broke, but it's just so darn flaky.
That's lovely.
Great, thank you.
There you go.
Now,
And the
Jan,
juices. Yes.
hi, Jay, if you have, let's say you have a spouse that just insists on having a starch with every meal, what's your kind of go-to side for that?
Well, you know what, again, I think it's easy stuff. I've got recipes in my book. I've got a nice recipe for, what is it, pecan? See, there's pecans, or it's a brown rice that you can put on a side like this. I served this the other night for my family here, and I made couscous out of a box. So, you know, anything you like. I mean, there are so many great things now that you can make just out of a box. But again, that said, watch what you're eating out of a box. You know, you don't want to eat too many processed foods. They're laden with sodium, and you don't want to do that too often, but I was in a hurry. However, that said, I do have recipes in the book, but, you know, just easy stuff like toasted pecan and scallion brown rice I've got in my book. But you can make this on your own without the book. It's just brown rice, a little bit of chicken broth, a little bit of olive oil, some shallots, scallion, salt and pepper, and some toasted pecans. And the big thing, of course, is the garlic. You never want to forget that. But isn't that, yeah, you just put that together, put that on a side. You can do that as well. And I'm all about, people, you know, are so afraid of carbs a lot of the time. And my whole thing is, I feel I have to have carbs for energy, but not simple carbs, because they spike the blood sugar. Things like white rice, white bread, sugar, obviously. You want to stay away from that as much as possible. So I eat my whole grains. I eat my brown rice, things like that. Quinoa, very good for you. Things like that are going to give you some energy, but they're not going to spike your blood sugar because they're complex carbs. That's what you have to keep in mind as well. And that will make all the difference in terms of your health. And it'll give you that boost of energy, as I mentioned. And it's also a great, I love it. You know, I love the texture of rice and quinoa. Teddy's so hungry. He's smelling, you know, you'd think he was a cat. He's smelling the fish and he wants some. So anyway, yeah, that was a good question. I like starch with my food too, but it's got to be a healthy one. And I also add a green salad to everything. I like to have as many greens as possible. So I'll have a salad and I'll throw all kinds of things in there. Some raw zucchini, some cucumbers, some fresh tomatoes, some onion, you know, red onion, things like that. You can, and garbanzo beans, throw it all in your salad. I had a salmon salad last night. Just, you know, chopped up some salmon, throw it in my salad. And I had a great nutrient-rich dinner that was delicious. So,
going back to the vegetable washing, we have a question.
yes.
Could you use distilled vinegar and water to wash if you didn't have apple cider vinegar?
You know, I don't normally do that, but I believe you can. You just want to make sure there's a lot more parts of water than there is to distilled vinegar. Just a little bit of vinegar, depending on how much you're washing, but just a little bit of distilled vinegar goes a long way, and then a lot of water. And then just make sure that you spray it well and then pat it down with a paper towel, you know, so it's all off. You don't want that residual taste of the distilled vinegar in your foods. So I would say very little, you know, and then a lot more water, which is why I like this veggie wash. There's no real taste to it, and it rinses off very easily.
Janet, I would think maybe squeezing some lemon juice in water rather than vinegar might be a good spray, you know, for
That's
vegetables.
a good one. Speaking of, that's a very good idea. Yes, like you could do that too. And you can also squeeze some lemon on top of the fish just like this, right? And give it even more vitamin C and give it more flavor. Thank you for reminding me of that, Pam. But yes, vitamin C, because it's acidic, in answer to your question, will work well as well. And that's, you know, it's clean, it's easy, and it's a good taste. So vitamin C in any way you can get it is good, and that's a good way to utilize it. Yeah. Thank you, Pam.
This was fun. This was fun. I hope you come back again sometime and do another.
I would love to. I mean, you are all a great group. You're doing wonderful work. And anything I can do to help, I'm happy to be here for you. So you just let me know.
Such a friend. Thank you so much. And we wish you every good thing coming up to you.
Thank you so much.
Good
God
health.
bless all of you. The same to you. Right back at you. And again, if I could share this with you, you know I would. This is going to be my quick breakfast. And then I'm out of here. What the heck? You know, dinner for breakfast.
Enjoy.
That's
Enjoy.
Thank you very much.